Jai Ma. So, continuing with our series on collected works of the Mother, today we take up Collected Works of the Mother, Volume 14. So, here it is written Words of the Mother, Volume 2, because in old time, the same thing is being followed in collected works also, Words of the Mother. So, basically, there is prayers and meditation. Then, Volume 2 is Words of Long Ago. Then, volume 3 onwards are conversations of the mother with disciples. They are evening classes basically. So, from 3 to 9, you will see conversations with the disciples. Then, volume 10 will be commentaries on thoughts and aphorism, which some of the people took to her and she said. Then, volume 11 is primarily part of her conversations, which agenda, it's a concise agenda. Volume 9 is also 9, 10, 11, all will form part of the agenda. But volume 11 is specifically agenda. Volume 12 is education. 13 onwards, they are words of the mother because these are written statements given to people on different occasions. So 13, 14, 15 are words of the mother. Then now they have taken out 16, 17, then 18, 19, 20. We'll come to that later. So words of the mother, volume 2, which is Collected Works of the Mother, volume 14. And as the publisher note says, they are written between late 20s and early 70s. So we can see there are plenty of things like public messages, private notes, and correspondence with disciples. So the difference is question and answers are all playground. And these are disciples have asked questions and she has replied. So this is arranged in 7 parts, and everything is very fascinating, but we can't take everything, but it's worth. Part 1 is man's relationship with the divine, and part 2 is the path of yoga. So we'll take up primarily the path of yoga because others are very beautiful, but they are one-line statements. Very beautiful. I must say they are statements worth noting in the heart and outside. At least this used to be my approach for quite long time. I would like something and take out a printout and put it on my cupboard. So while going, coming, you see, or in front of the bathroom door. So there also I will see. Then inside the washroom mirror, because you are shaving. So idea was that my eyesight should go there. And when I see, at least there will be a subconscious messaging. This I used to do. It has helped me tremendously, but I am not saying that it will help each one. But I'm just picking up some of them from part 1 to begin with. Then I'll go to part 2. So one of them which I had put on my cupboard was life as a purpose. This purpose is to find and to serve the divine. Everywhere you will see Mother speaks of both finding the divine and work for the divine. Both things have come. And she has added finding the divine is not enough. Work for the divine because it's all about manifestation. So finding the divine you can do through various ways. You can do, interiorization, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. Even traditional karma yoga stops with finding of the divine. But works are so important. So much so that Mother would not give, there is a letter of Sri Aurobindo, though there is so much written about mantra. But she would say that, as Sri Aurobindo says that when you come here, the Mother does not give mantra, she gives work. So what about mantra? Mantra will spring up from inside if it is necessary. So you can use the mantra, but she gives work. So this is the basis. The divine is not far. He is in ourselves, deep inside and above the feelings and the thoughts. So that traditional bhakti where you are just feeling bhav and you are crying or Bhagwan bhav ke bhuke hain, all that is old yoga. Very superficially that movement moves. It doesn't go very deep. It gives you a kind of exhilaration, a kind of feeling of high. But that high is momentary, temporary, it doesn't change in nature. Here it is psychic bhakti which is entirely giving oneself to the divine. There is no other demand, no other expectation. With the divine is peace and certitude and even the solution of all difficulties. This is what we are talking about. But of course, the divine solution is very different from our solutions. Our solution is that what I am wanting, that should happen. That is for us solution. But the divine solution is He changes the want. So you wonder, why was I wanting it? How foolish of me. Hand over your problems to the divine and He will pull you out of all difficulties. Very simple. But we love difficulties. That's a different story altogether. Then, of course, we all should know this, that do not live to be happy. Happiness is not the aim of life. 99% of problems are related to that. Even with divine, we want to be happy. We love someone, we want to be happy. We are not bothered about anything else. I want to be happy. It will give me happiness. That's not love at all, straight away. One may think that's all attraction, attachment, 100 things. Give and take, vital movements. It's not love. Love is only about self-giving, but that's something different. So, do not live to be happy, live to serve the divine. And the joy that you will experience will be beyond all expectations. So you will not need any other kind of second-hand joy. This is a letter I'll read, which once Chhotnarayan told me that he was going through a very difficult time. It not because of anything, external in his life, but inwardly. And that's a whole background to that story. He was just going through that existential crisis. And he heard a voice, write to the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. So he said, who is this speaking to me in English? He had this occult opening. So he said, English mein to ek hi Bhagwan bolte hain. This is his style, okay? He said only one God speaks in English. He was a professor in literature, so he knew, and he had a beautiful mastery over both Hindi, Sanskrit, and English. And of course, Bangla, Odia, multilingual person. So he wrote to the mother, and he said, pray, send me a word of hope, because he was going through a lot of difficulty inside. It's a question of life and death. So he said, pray, send me a word of hope. The moment he wrote the letter, he was telling me himself this experience. He says, I started seeing a rose in front of me, in front of his eyes. So rose is, as we all know, love for the divine, surrender. These are the different. So that rose, only one variety is surrender, which is the Desi rose. And the other is love for the divine. So he started wondering, what is this rose? Now, what is interesting about this experience is that he started seeing the rose as soon as he wrote the letter. Not when the reply came. When the reply came, the rose vanished. So there was an inner reply which came, then there was an outer reply. So the outer reply took 15 days, because that time, you write and then it comes. So in that reply, mother wrote this, which is there now in collected works. So what she wrote, never forget that you are not alone. Feeling, in fact, if you are feeling alone, there are two kinds of loneliness. One which is excellent, because it's the best ground to find the divine. Mother has said one place, if you are feeling lonely, you are ready to discover the divine. The other loneliness is where you want a companion. So that makes one sad. So she says, never forget that you are not alone. The divine is with you, helping and guiding you. Even once when I was going through a very difficult period, Chhotnarayan came to know about it. He knew nothing. And he told Dr. Vandana that send him a message. And this is the message he sent for me also. I was in Air Force that time. So I believe it's something very powerful. One should note it and keep it always. Never forget that you are not alone. The divine is with you, helping and guiding you. He is the companion who never fails. I still remember I was not missing a companion, but I had tears in my eyes when, I heard this. He is the companion who never fails. The friend whose love comforts and strengthens. So it was around this time, in fact, a little before my crisis, as if the divine came in advance to caution me. So I have discovered, I'm just narrating some personal experience because it adds ki how the divine operates. So I didn't know that there is a problem which is going to come. so, but I had the experience looking at Sri Aurobindo's photograph suddenly, as if he walks, not as if, this is an experience real. So he walks and he says, I give my friendship to you. Then he says, what you will ask, that I will fulfill. What you promise, that I fulfill. I said, yeah, this is a big problem because now I have to be very careful of what I promise. I thought about that. And automatically you cannot promise after that anything because automatically you will be stopped. So then at that point, what is meant by friendship of the divine? I mean, he is the friend who never fails, who stands by you. All your friends will fail, go away. But the divine is the friend who never fails. But you have to form that bond. And it is given. It's not like automatically we can say, okay, he is my friend. So for me, the experience was he came out of the photograph and gave me the friendship. So he is the friend whose love comforts and strengthens. The more you feel lonely, the more you are ready to perceive his luminous presence. How lucky are those from whom companions are snatched away. And how foolish who wants companions back. It's the time when, divine wants to give his companionship. His luminous presence. Have faith. This line was the most important. Have faith and he will do everything for you. And it is so true. Never ever he fails. This, I must say, is a constant experience. I'm sure of many, but I'm just sharing this. And this was another one which had touched me deeply. It is the divine presence that gives value to life. What people say, don't say, your bank balance, your position, none of this matters. Only thing that matters is, I still remember a story. Someone went to Anandamayi Ma and he was a very qualified person. His card contained many things. So I don't never keep a card. So why this pravarti came, I understood after I heard this story. So he had a card in which, he had written many things. Degrees and work and all. So when the card was taken to Anandamayi Ma, that the person told her, ये बहुत कोई विद्वान आपसे मिलना चाहते हैं. Some vidwan wants to meet you. Anandamayi Ma's remark was, अविद्या की नगरी में विद्वान कहाँ से आ गया? That's all. Who is this Vidwan in this world of ignorance? So, many of these beautiful anecdotes. So, what gives value is the divine presence. This presence is the source of all peace, all joy, all security. All depression is a sign that I have moved miles away from the divine presence. There is no other reason. We may blame people, say so and so, that means we are moving away and away. All depression is a sign that I am deeply insincere and moved away from the divine. So this is what Mother and Sri Aurobindo's saying, because divine presence gives just peace, joy, security. All fear is the sign that I have moved away from the divine. Find this presence in yourself and all your difficulties will disappear. So this was another mantra and put on the mirror in the washroom every day while brushing the teeth to remind myself. This was a card also given on. So of course she has also said what is divine and all that she has. That divine you carry within. Some people try to sit, okay, I'll find the divine. They like to go into deep meditation, hours and hours they will sit. Sri Aurobindo has cautioned in Synthesis of Yoga, this is not the path. And he says the kingdom of heaven cannot be taken by storm. And he gives only Sri Ramakrishna could do it. That he says. But this is not meant for people to do. So what is should be our approach? So he says, God cannot be taken by violence. It is only through love and harmony that you can reach God. Be in peace, my blessings are with you. Some people think that if I do so much, but love and harmony. And naturally, for that, love should be there in the heart. Okay. Some people, there was a book, 3 volumes, which had come once. Neil, someone, Conversations with God. I do not know whether you have. Of course, Iqbal has also written a book like that. Justice Iqbal, who went away to Pakistan, he wrote the famous song Sare Jahan Se Acha. But later on, when he went to Pakistan, he changed completely. So he has written a book called Sawale Shikwa or Jawabe Shikwa. So there is the questions he raises to God and God gives answers. So when I read the book, I said, okay, but I mean, it's not impressive, but people felt it's something very special. So someone asked the mother, if we want to have conversations with God, of course within us, is it possible? If yes, on what condition? Mother's reply will be a shocker. God does not indulge in conversations. He says, do it or don't do it. That's the end of the story. You understand, you don't understand. Because he is the sole doer, he is everything. He doesn't need to, go into lengthy explanations. And this is an experience one has to reckon with. Then some people say, mother gets angry. Even here, people who have lived here for decades, sometimes you will hear, mother has got angry. Somebody died. So he's sad sometimes when you see these comments. Someone who has lived here for decades, who has had darshan of the mother. And because you don't like a person because he did whatever he did, so someone says, see, mother is punishing. I won't name, but see, this was asked to mother. Does God ever become angry with us? If yes, when? She says, when you believe he is angry. Mother has a very subtle sense of humor. When you believe he is angry. And so somebody asked, if we shed tears for God, does he ever shed a tear for us? See, this is all traditional bhakti, no? They say, we call you, do you also call us, want us, things like this. It goes into tradition. I remember going to this place, Brindavan, there is a famous presence, and I was asked by one of the Mahants there. He said, why does Bhagwan want bhakti from us? I said, but who told you that Bhagwan wants bhakti from you? I said, it only makes the path easier for us. It's not for his sake that he is bhakti ke bhuke hain. We hear, Bhagwan bhakti ke bhuke hain. As the poor fellow, he is starving. It is to our benefit to make the path easier that he has allowed this wonderful bhakti which is straight from the heart. You have love, put it in the service of the divine, toward the divine, and life will become wonderful. If you don't want to do it, it's not that he's saying, no, you are not doing my bhakti. Nothing like that. So somebody has asked, if we shed tears for God, does he ever shed a tear for us? Surely he has deep compassion for you. But his eyes are not of the kind that shed tears. This one place, where Nolnida writes, teardrop in the eyes of the divine. Can anybody remember when Sri Aurobindo had just a glistening teardrop in his eyes, which some people noticed, Nalnida noticed. Otherwise, you'll never see him or mother crying. So much happened, so much people did.
When he lost his wife.
Yes, when Sri Aurobindo, when Mrilalini Devi died. And this was not tear for a personal loss. It was tear which came out of compassion because of her sacrifice, because of what she went through. Because Sri Aurobindo came here. Then in 1918, when she wanted to come, Sri Aurobindo said, yes, you come. But surely he knew the divine will. She started the journey from Shillong, came to Kolkata. She had to take the train. She developed malarial fever and died. Later on, she took another birth, and it is said, Eshadi. And Shurvindu and the mother had very, very special fondness for her. And she had special faculties also. So they did what they had to do for her. But teardrop only once, 1918, when he has realized Parabrahman and all. But it's not teardrop for a personal loss, we must understand. It's the teardrop which is for what she did. It's something amazing. So, teardrop in the eyes of divine. So, sometimes we see people doing all kinds of wrongdoings. We say, why divine doesn't he punish them? This also comes. Why is he letting them? For him, the only thing he knows is to change. A man who is wicked is in the early stages of evolutionary journey. That's how he sees. So mother says, according to the law of man, the guilty ought to be punished. But there is a law more imperative than the human law. It is the divine law. The law of compassion and mercy. If you see, the mother has invoked all aspects of the divine in French. So all of them like Lord God of this, Lord God of this. So the one which she says for 25 years, the one mantra which stuck to her always was Lord God of kindness and mercy. Today they have put her on the notice board also, very nice from Mother India, that mother says what are the things she does not like. And that is cruelty and all those things. So Lord God of kindness and mercy. So the divine law is the law of compassion and mercy. It's not the law of justice. And this compassion works to change you. Sometimes like a mother will take a baby, put in the school. Because it's needed. It's not compassion, oh I am so sorry. It's not that. It's a very compassion comes from a great height. You understand that this is needed. It is because of this law that the world is able to endure and progress towards truth and love. The divine does not see things as men do and has no need to punish or reward. So where is this karmic law coming from? It operates as it's a cosmic level. That's all. But behind it, because there is the divine grace chasing it, therefore it helps you to evolve. So there is a karmic law of action and consequences. But it is not what God is giving us punishment. That is Shani Dev's domain. And we know Shani Dev is not a very pleasant God. Most people don't. But he is a God of justice. He is born from Surya and Chaya in Indian thought. So Surya has two wives. One is Sangya, which is truth knowledge. The other is Chaya, which is ignorance. So in the realm of ignorance, from Chaya and Surya are born Yama and Shani. So Shani Dev is basically in the world of ignorance, the law of action and consequence operates. But it is not the divine law. The divine is always behind everything, helping, guiding. Otherwise, logically, if there was only this law of action and consequence, which human being can stake claim that one day he will evolve toward divine? Nobody, at least, as far as I know. Because everybody commits in ignorance 1001 things. According to the nature of the action, it brings you near to the divine or takes you away from it. And that is the supreme consequence. It's not about reward and punishment. Look at Ravan. When he turned away from God, he continued from Shiva, he continued to have Trilokadipati. He conquered all the gods. That is the time he has all the Vaibhav in the world. But he was away from the Lord. And he suffered inside. And he wanted the Lord. And the Lord comes all the way. And Mata Sita says, okay, this idiot. So she even goes with him. That's how it is explained in Adbhut Ramayana. The whole story from Sita's perspective. She says, he couldn't have come near me. Valmiki ji also mentions that, before the drama starts, he says that let's start the play because we have to bring him back. He's Jai Vijay. He has forgotten. So then Mata Sita goes to Agni and brings her Chaya in front. So the sign of that is the moment after that the Swarna Mrig episode comes. So you see that how Mother Sita reacts towards Lakshman. He says, your intentions are not good. You are not going to, because she is now avidya mai, out of vidya, avidya. So it is very profound truth of vidya and avidya, which are two operating systems of one reality. In Savitri, there is a line, in knowledge and ignorance, they have spoken and met. So both are the same divine mother, but she uses these operating system. When she assumes the form of a Vidya, then Ravan comes and takes her. She is not able to apparently recognize, but she has gone with her own choice because she knew this is a chance for this man. But wherever Ravan tried something forcibly, the Shakti came out. When he tries forcibly to take her to the palace, then she just picks a tree and says, don't cross this. So we see constantly in Ramayana this beautiful description. So she says, based on your actions, what is worse than to go away further from the divine? And its sign is depression. All depression is a sign of acute egoism and moving further away from the divine. And something very beautiful, and this, there was a person here who had some fight with someone, and he was right. And the mother told him, you go away. So he went to Nalnida and said, but I am right. So Nalnida told him, whatever mother says is the right thing to do. You go, it is a grace. So he went away. After 15 years, he says, it was such a grace, how he progressed. And there is another example of a lady, I will not say. Take the name. And how she went away, mother told her that no, it is better that you go. And how she has been such a wonderful instrument in the divine work. So our understanding of right and wrong and justice and divine, how we operate. So he says, human beings are capable of withdrawing from the divine, and they often do it. Just because something you don't like, something which is not according to your wishes. But for the divine to withdraw from human beings, that is an impossibility. Of course, this relief should not mean, okay, I can do anything. Because divine has his own way of bringing you back. The story of Narad, how he strayed away and everything he lost to come back. So obviously that's not the way we should take. If the Supreme Consciousness got angry over the defects of men, humanity would long since have ceased to be. People asked him that, but the people on the allies side, you have put your force, but they are also not good guys. Britishers have conquered us. French, none of them is good guy. Why are you putting your force behind them? Then he says, if you see that, then Pandavas also had defects. Many of the people that side were just having their personal axe to grind. Drupad, for example. So he says, divine does not act according to that notion of good and bad. He sees what is good for Mangal, Shubham, for individual and for the collective march, and he puts his stakes in that side. So then divine leans towards us, so wonderful. So mother says about that, the divine may very well lean down towards you, but to understand him rightly, you must come up to him. You won't understand. You will think that he is just indulging with you, and then it will be withdrawn because you are not able to understand. To understand the divine, we must have no more preferences, because he doesn't act to just justify us. Okay, now we come to this part 2. And here Sri Aurobindo, okay. Okay, we'll read this one by one. We don't need to rush. 3 conceptions of the world. This is one of the best places where best explanations of Buddhism and Shankara's view and Sri Aurobindo's view, she has summarized in a nutshell. 3 conceptions of the world, Buddhist and Shankarite. The world is an illusion, a field of ignorance and suffering due to ignorance. The one thing to do is to get out of it as soon as possible and to disappear into the original non existence. Buddha would say non existence, or non manifestation. Shankara would say non manifestation. That's the only difference. Manifestation is illusion. Withdraw from that. The Vedanta as very commonly understood. Now she gives the other conception. Again, because there are different schools of Vedanta. She is speaking of the school. The world is essentially divine. See, this is what Swami Vivekananda spoke in the lecture in his famous Chicago lecture. There he goes. He says that there is divine in each one of us. So that's a very powerful conception. He didn't say it's an illusion in that sense. The world is essentially divine, for the divine is omnipresent there. But its exterior expression is distorted, obscure, ignorant, perverted. The one thing to do is to become conscious of the inner divine and remain fixed in that consciousness without troubling about the world. For the external world cannot change and will always be in its natural state of unconsciousness and ignorance. This is precisely what Swami Vivekananda said. He said somebody told him about anger because he would get frequently anger. He would say, nature you cannot change is like a dog's tail. But you can find the divine who is within the world. So everybody carries the divine presence and you can find him. Nature you cannot change. Whatever is given to you, you can make the best of it. Maybe try some sattvic modification, sattva sansuddhi. Even Shankaracharya says that, what happens to somebody who realizes the divine? He says there are 4 types. So jadvat, balvat, pishachvat, unvantavat. There, that, you cannot change nature. So this is the traditional Vedanta view. Divine is here, you can find him. Then once you find, then like Kabir says that matki breaks. How does it matter? So it is like in the pot when plant has grown, then the pot breaks. Though I used to have this question, where does the plant go? So I had my own logic to it. Okay, you put it in a wide field. So that's what you can do, your pot will break after a point. But Sri Aurobindo's view, the world as it is not the divine creation it is meant to be. Very clearly he is also saying. He's on the same page with traditional Vedanta. It is not the divine. So to say all life is yoga, therefore whatever we are doing, everything is automatically divine. No, then no yoga is required. Why it is so is a thing which Mother and Sri Aurobindo has explained at different places. We will not go into that because we will stay with what is we are reading. It is not the expression of the divine consciousness and will. So it's not like whatever is happening, Bhagwan ki marji. Somebody suddenly, young boy, dies and you say Bhagwan ki marji. Paap, somebody has done something wrong, therefore he is being punished. No, none of these apply. What is the reason? That Mother explains elsewhere because of the progressive distortion. That's a different thing, and how the higher consciousness takes care of that destiny. We are not going into that. It is not the expression of the divine consciousness and will, but this is what it is meant to become. Now comes something new. It's like when you go and, so it is world is in a state of transition. That's how he explains that man himself is a transitional being. He is prone to make mistakes, errors, go through suffering, pain, but because something else has to arise out of him. So it's like when you make a vigraha of Durga. So, if you go at different stages, some of us have seen, I'm sure, first of all, it's very interesting that they get mitti from 29 places, which includes a brothel. So anyways, so you make a image of Durga. So if you go a few days earlier, you will see even the hair coming out of, hands and all. You say, Hare. Then slowly, then last thing that he does is makes the eyes. And as the story goes, after making the eyes, he is not supposed to look. So he makes the eyes and turns away. Then only after the invocation takes place, then people can look. So the priest has to do the invocation. So this world is in the making. It is not yet the divine expression it is meant to be. It has been created to develop into a perfect manifestation of the divine under all his forms and aspects. So perfection. This is what Sri Aurobindo brings. He brings perfection. Perfection is all aspects of the divine in all their fullness in complete harmony. Not just love, not just light, not just peace, not just ananda, not just beauty. All of them, not just power, all of them, and in perfect harmony. So, his forms and aspects: light and knowledge, power, love and beauty. These are the four main aspects. This is our conception of it and the aim we follow. And then, of course, she says that, that usual sadhanas have for their aim union with the Supreme Sachidananda. Sri Aurobindo's sadhana begins with that, starts where the others end. Means you have to first find. No shortcut. You can't say I'm working on my nature unless you have found the divine presence. Once the union with the Supreme is realized, one must bring down that realization to the exterior world and change the conditions of life upon the earth until a total transformation is accomplished. In accordance with this aim, the sadhak of the integral yoga do not retire from the world to lead a life of contemplation and meditation. Cancelled. You're not allowed to go to mountains and retire. You face what you have to go through. You have to be a samurai in that sense. And the war is inside you. And that all great mystics have said that at some level, Bulle Shah says, that you are fighting this man, that person. Apni nafas to ladiya nahi. Nafas is ego. You are fighting with everybody. You have not fought with your own ego. So, problem with this is, now people will say, you fight with your ego. I will fight with you. Still you have to fight with your ego. That's the beauty. Your desires, your ego. It's a delightful journey. Okay, anyways. Each one must devote at least 1/3 of his time to a useful work. That makes 8 hours. Okay. All activities are represented in the ashram and each one chooses the work not most congenial to his nature. Mother has said very clearly. It's not like I need you there, therefore. That becomes now. But what is most congenial to your nature, but must do it in a spirit of service and unselfishness, keeping always in view the aim of integral transformation. That's what. To make this purpose possible, the ashram is organized so that all its inmates find their reasonable needs satisfied and have not to worry about their subsistence. What are the rules? 4 rules. 4 rules are, this is 1953. For a long time there were no rules. After 51, the mother people said give some rules. So she wrote this and gave the rules. The rules are very few so that each one can enjoy the freedom needed for his development. But a few things are strictly forbidden. They are: number 1, politics. Number 2, smoking. Number 3, alcoholic drink. And number 4, sex enjoyment. 4th is sex enjoyment. So, and still when you see, there were people like Sarat Chand who were drinking so much every night, and he would also go and, not Sarat Chand couldn't stay. What was this? He became a film actor. Harendranath Chattopadhyay. Sri Aurobindo spoke about his poem as the most authentic English poetry in Indian's most authentic voice. But every night he would go, he was caught in red light area and Amal Kiran had to go and bring him back. And still he didn't send him away. He felt at one point of time that I must go away. He has acted in some Basu Chatterjee movies, if you know. Even then, so their compassion was endless. As long as you know that you need to change. That's all that they wanted. So these are the 4 things. Great care is taken for the maintenance of good health and the welfare and normal growth of the body of all, small and big, young and old. So this is what is about the yoga. The more I go, the more I know that it is in work that Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga is best done. Okay. So, what kind of work? She says, from the standpoint of yoga, it is not so much what you do, but how you do it that matters most. So, it's maybe the stories where she saw Amal Kiran's, he had made some flowers or something, painting, and she saw where exactly he was remembering the mother. She pointed out. And the others he was not remembering, just doing it as a mechanically. So that's the main thing. And the key to this yoga is opening to the mother. So people have asked, how to open to the mother? So the person says, to remember you constantly or from time to time, mother says, good. Remembering the mother is to open to her. By taking your name through japa, mother says, helpful. With the help of meditation, more difficult if one has not the habit of meditation. By conversation about you with those who love and respect you, risky. Risky. Because when talking, often some nonsense or at least some useless things can be said. By reading your books, good. It opens us. By spending time in thoughts of you, very good. By sincere prayers, good. So these are the methods, and now I come to what I wanted to read: the examiners. Because when you come to this place, there is nothing which is told. What rule, regulation, nothing. If you become an ashramite, you are given a book. Now they have a number of rules, but that's more like a legal document. But basically, no rules. So what is this ashram about? So mother says, why there are no rules? But something is happening. And when you stay, you begin to become conscious. So there is a whole some writing where it's called the examiners. The integral yoga consists of an uninterrupted series of examinations that one has to undergo without any previous warning, thus obliging you to be constantly on the alert and attentive. In old times, samurais used to be trained like that. In Zen Buddhism, it is like that. This is a story that a person wanted to become a samurai, sword fighter, and he took him in. So he thought that I'll be given this task, and he was given task in the kitchen to make food. So 3 days, 4 days, 7 days, then he would see people do sword fighting, but nothing was given to him. So he said, maybe master has forgotten. Whenever he'll go and approach the master, when will he get the sword, he would just ignore. So by the end of 3 years, he took it that, well, maybe, I'm not good for sword fighting, but this is my job. Okay, fine. So he used to enjoy seeing the sword fighting. One day, master came and gave him a big blow. He got very angry. When he turned, he saw that master had hit him with a wooden sword. So he became, oh, sorry. Master, no, you are not supposed to get angry. After some time, again the master gave him a blow. Now it went on. Now the moment he would see master, he would, it went to this extent that even in sleep, suddenly he would, if the master came near with the sword, he would wake up. Because he realized that when one day he woke up, before the master could give him a blow, then he said, master said, now come tomorrow, take the sword and start your practice. A long time just to become because once you go there, you can be killed. It's a serious affair, yoga. So she says that, these examinations happen. They are not at the entry level. A child is taken in by some kind of choice. But later on examinations come. Once you have become, why you are accepted is a different story between you and the divine. And that Sri Aurobindo has given why people are taken in. Based on what criteria. So there are 3 groups of examiners. They appear to have nothing to do with one another and their methods are so different. So what are these examiners? They complement each other. The 3 types of examinations are those set by forces of nature, those set by spiritual and divine forces, and those set by hostile forces. Actually, in ancient yoga, now we can connect. Why Indra was taking examination? Why Rakshasas and Asuras were trying to spoil the yajna. And your own nature is exactly the Vedic yoga, but brought in the correct perspective. These last, which is the hostile forces, are the most deceptive in their appearance, and to avoid being caught unawares and unprepared requires a state of constant watchfulness, sincerity, and humility. If you think you are somebody and something, then you can be easily washed away. So, how did they operate? The most commonplace circumstances, the events of everyday life. It's not like, okay, now you are going to meditate, so examiner, no, they know, abhi ja, tu meditate kar. Bahar aaye. So many people say, they come out, somebody says something. And suddenly, why he said this? It may be commonplace thing. Something even apparently out of goodwill. You are not looking well, is everything okay? Now you see what has happened. Fear may enter into you. Or somebody you don't like will come right in front of you. So this is how this examination. It's not like when you are going inside, somebody is commonplace. The most apparently insignificant people and things all belong to one or other of these three kind of examiners. Everyone faces. Very fascinating. It is a subject in its own right. Those events in this vast and complex organization of tests, those events that are generally considered the most important in life are the easiest examinations to undergo. Marriage is not the examination. What she tells you or he tells, that is the examination. So, it's not important. You have to, what you will face subsequently. If you may not get married, that is also not important. But commonplace things, somebody says something, somebody has done something, because they find you ready and on your guard. So there are times when you are on your guard. Examiners are very smart. They say, "Abhi chhod dete hain. Thoda, we'll wait. Thoda moment of unconsciousness." It is easier to stumble over the little stones on your path because they attract no attention. And the faster your vehicle is going, the more dangerous it is. At one place, Sri Aurobindo says, if you are flying high, you cannot afford to misconduct your aeroplane. Even a bird hit will make you go down. So then she says what you have to do, and now we understand the full significance of the 12 petals of the mother. Endurance and plasticity, cheerfulness and fearlessness are the qualities specially needed for the examinations of physical nature. This is page 42, 43. It has to be really each thing is something wonderful to think about, meditate upon and cultivate. So I'm not going into it. Physical nature, you will have problems, so you have to continue to remain cheerful. Like, Nishikanto, he had every kind of illness in the body, and one day somebody was complaining to him, you know what, my knees are paining so much. He's telling Amrita, look at him. Hey, erokom korche, why is he saying like this? Then he's telling Amrita, I am a whole laboratory of diseases. Every possible disease he had in his body. And Sri Aurobindo had told him, if you come here, within 2 years you will have all the possible diseases. His body was not ready. So he said, when I am coming to Mahakali, why should I fear even death? That's how he came. And he had every possible condition. So physical, you have to remain cheerful and fearless and have endurance and plasticity. Aspiration, trust, idealism, enthusiasm and generous self-giving for spiritual examination. Idealism, aspiration, trust. You see, when Mira says, "Main to saavri ke rang rachi," I don't want anything else. Maybe somebody comes and says, oh, no, our guru will give you. There have been people who have approached me, I'm sure, to others, that, there is a movement where you will get very quick realization. No. You are in love with Mother and Sri Aurobindo, that's the end of the story. Each one is great. You don't have to denounce anyone. But this is what is meant for me. That's the end of the story. So aspiration, trust, idealism, enthusiasm and generous self-giving for spiritual examinations. And vigilance, sincerity and humility for the examinations from hostile forces. Particularly, Mother has said humility is the safeguard. If you think you are someone or somebody, gone. So she says that, well, and don't think that some people are arranging the examination for you and some are to give. Everybody in a interaction, one may be an examiner or both may be an examiner and an examinee. It's not like some people have been given these tasks. So she cautions, this is what is important. To conclude, a final piece of advice: never set yourself up as an examiner. Never judge anyone, never be critical. Don't try to assess anyone, what is the person doing, and pass a judgment. It is most dangerous. She is saying this. Never set yourself, oh, Mother has said, let me try to, examine. No. Your business, it is done by agencies which are cosmic in nature. And their task is like Shani Dev ka dekhte hai na kya hota hai. No, everybody gives him respect out of fear, but nobody welcomes him in the home. Shani Dev is like that. Even Mata Parvati, that's how he was hit by her, no? Then he became lame, na? He wanted to see Lord Ganpati. And he actually saw, that's how the story goes. So when Mata Parvati came to know he had come, she gives him a nice beating. So he becomes lame after that. So nobody welcomes him. So don't ever do that. She says, never set yourself up as an examiner. For while it is good to remember constantly that one may be undergoing a very important examination, it is extremely dangerous. And this is something I have seen people go far away, fall down like anything after climb, because you think you are someone. Divine will make you put to both. I use this word dhobi pachhad yog. The moment you say I am somebody, he will take you and अच्छे से कपड़े में से मैल का एक bit has to come out. So that's called dhobi pachhad yog. So for while it is good to remember constantly that one may be undergoing a very important examination, it is extremely dangerous to imagine that one is responsible for setting examinations for others. Never judge anyone, never criticize anyone. That is the open door to the most ridiculous and harmful kinds of vanity. It is the supreme wisdom which decides these things and not the ignorant human will. Then she says, each time you have to make progress, you have to undergo an examination. Moment you have to go from one level to another, and if you fail, doesn't matter, it'll come. That thing will come in different ways, slightly different. It'll become almost minimal. It'll reduce its intensity, or it'll become weaker, and one day it'll go. That Sri Aurobindo has explained in one of his essays, the process of evolution. Be the same thing which will come, same tendency. And one day you'll become so conscious that you will become really over vigilant. And then it will leave you completely. So this is the process. And therefore she says, in ancient times, the disciple had to undergo severe tests to prove his ability for initiation. Here we do not follow that method. Apparently there is no test and no trial. But if you see the truth, you will find that here it is much more difficult. So there are people who keep on saying, oh, why this person has been taken in the ashram? Mister, you are falling, not that person. Because you have judged him. You don't know what is, what. But if you see the truth, you will find that here it is much more difficult. You think you are somebody superior and somebody else is, you have no clue. So there, the disciple knew that he was undergoing a period of trial. There is a story of the mother on, Yusuf and the mouse. Interesting story. Yeah, he was undergoing it. And after he had passed through some outward test, he was taken in. But here you have to face life. And you are watched at every moment. That's why Sri Aurobindo gave the mantra. That always behave as if the mother is looking at you. Or indeed she is always present. So he gives us the method. Do nothing. Try to think and feel nothing. Very difficult. But still, that's why he's saying try. Do nothing, try to think and feel nothing. That will be unworthy of the divine presence. If she's there, how I will speak, what I will speak, what I'll do, how I'll do, what kind of thoughts I will entertain, because she is noticing everything. What kind of feelings I must have. It is not only your outer actions that count. Each and every thought and inner movement is seen. Every reaction is noticed. People say that Mother and Sri Aurobindo are physically not there. I can say last 22 years living here that it's not true at all. Everything that is written is absolutely true. And if you don't know their presence, it's only because you have chosen to turn your blind eye. Anybody who is living here with open eyes will know, see, experience all these things. It is not what you do in the solitude of the forest, but what you do in the thick of the battle of life that is important. That's why it's a battlefield. Once the mother told to Amal Kiran, you cannot afford to snooze on the battlefield. Are you ready to submit yourself for such tests? Are you ready to change yourself completely? You will have to throw off your ideas, ideals, values, interests, and opinions. Everything will have to be learned and new. If you're ready for all this, then take a plunge. Otherwise, don't try to step in. Ideas, ideals, opinions, values. We don't know what is happening it is enough if we know what is happening inside us. And it's so interesting when you see after some time, you say, how I was so blind, how I was so stupid. And you thought that time that you are not so stupid. Once Chamanlalji told me something very interesting. The same thing he said. He said, you discover how stupid you are. That's the first step. So, and all judgment is a sign that you are not only stupid, but stupidest. And finally, she says, everything can be part of sadhana. It depends on the inner attitude. And naturally, if one lets himself be invaded by the Western atmosphere, farewell to the sadhana. This was said to somebody who was returning back to the West. He came thinking of something and wanted to go back. She says, if you want to look at things from the Western standpoint, forget the sadhana. But even in the most materialistic milieu, because you see now outwardly life, Western view is basically physical and outer view. Some people say, no, outside things are so organized, they're like that, like that. Okay, try it. There is a reason why things are the way they are. But that's a different subject. But even in the most materialistic milieu, if one retains one's aspiration and one's faith in the divine life. So she is telling that, okay, there are plenty of people who are outside, who are turned toward the mother. The sadhana can and should continue. So basic thing is to be conscious, to have aspiration, to have humility, surrender, faith, courage, perseverance. Somebody who gets up 1,000 times and pursues steadfastness towards the goal, then one goes on this path beautifully. Jai Ma.